In this video, my dad's gonna give you a tour of our garden. Let's go!
We're gonna walk around the garden and see what's going on. The garden is a work in progress. It feels like it's a sculpture piece with a lot of different elements coming together. And it's a great place to come and relax and learn and lose yourself, especially during these times. So as we go this way, this is where we have our raised beds, and there's a lot of herbs growing on the ground that have been established. We got some scarlet runner beans here with a pole. We're gonna have to get it stronger, but the pole will help guide them, and we'll hopefully have a nice little canopy of beans here later on in the summer. In these beds we have a cherry tomato that's been going on for a few months now, and some bolting celery, some strawberries that are going to be giving us some fruit soon, 2 beds of strawberries. Really want to learn how to get better at growing our strawberries. And on the ground you're going to see that there's a lot of nopal and broken up pieces of trunks, and they're there to keep the possums out from digging, or raccoons or other critters that come in at night and look for grubs but dig up a bunch of stuff. In these beds we have some more greens. Along the bottoms of the beds we're also growing some stuff like herbs and chiles, and we're just going to see what happens. It's going to get really dense here at some point, but we're establishing our trellises for the tomatoes here. We also got some raspberries, some chamomile, and a bunch of other things. And again, we're trying to keep some of the critters away from here, so we try to build barriers or distractions or ways to make it harder for them to dig up. Here's our papaya plant. It's growing like crazy. Hopefully once this days start to warm up and get longer, we'll see some ripening in them. Down in this way we got our aguacate plant tree that's been growing for about 5 years now. It's called Surprise, and this year it gave us some fruit. If you look through here, you're gonna see that there's some fruit. We have to harvest it a couple weeks before we're ready to eat it, so we got like a rotation going on with this one and a Haas that we're growing in a different part of the garden. Everywhere you're gonna see sunflowers. They've been growing since November. We planted a bunch of seeds, broadcast them all over the garden, the top part of the garden. Now they're growing big and they're flowering. We've got a cool area over here. We built a shed. We're gonna do a tile mural up above. It's in the works. But we got our compost bins and our worm bins. So inside our worm bins, we just added some worms and have been putting in some waste, some kitchen waste, and also some garden waste and some cardboard. Inside we got, one of them is working. Let me give it a turn and see if it's heating up. It's kind of warm in there. And again, that's just a bunch of cut up, shredded mailings, kitchen scraps, coffee grounds, things from the garden. And this one we're just building up. So this one is going to be breaking down, while this one we're adding to it. Here we got a reed avocado. It's really full of flowers and it's going to grow big. Behind it there's 4 guayaba trees and a Suriname cherry, which gives us cherries fairly consistently. There's 2 of them. There's one on this side and there's another one over here on this side. Let's come up this way. So all over the garden you're going to see fruit trees, and there's different types of fruit trees. We have a lot of stone fruit trees, so those are fruiting at this point. Here's a stone fruit tree that's just overloaded with fruit. One of the branches broke because of the weight and I didn't get a chance to thin it, but it's a nectarine, and in the next 2 or 3 weeks we're going to get some fruit from that. We got our mother plantain plant down here. It's an herb, really important. And to the side we got a bunch of little volunteers that we've been able to put in little pots. Here's a recently pruned citrus. It's called Tahoe Gold. It was really bushy but kind of down below, so I pruned it so that everything is going to kind of move upward. There's another nectarine, a dwarf variety. It doesn't get very big, but it does provide a lot of fruit. This is like the 4th year in the ground, and this year it looks like it's got a lot of fruit development on it. But get rid of these suckers here. You take away the energy from the plant. Let's go this way. We got a passion fruit, a yellow passion fruit. Wants to get really big, so got to figure out how to best contain it but have it fruit for us. It's an artichoke, and the artichoke has some artichokes in it already. Last year it gave us some artichokes. We got to get better at learning when to harvest it and how to keep it contained, because again, it wants to spread out, and it's got a lot of artichokes now. This is where we want to do our tile mural, and I have all the tiles ready and I have the design. I just got to find the time to come in and work on that. Here's a key lime. The cool thing about this one is that it's thornless, and this is the year that it's probably going to start to give us more. It's a young tree. Along this side we have some more herbs. I'm not sure what that one is. I planted some seeds back in the winter and spread them out, and they look so beautiful, and now they're giving these flowers, and they're all over the garden. There's like 10 of them that came up in different parts of the garden. It's got to be some sort of an edible leaf flower plant. And next to it we have a lemongrass, some mint, oregano, a basil, and a bunch of apple trees behind here, and a little papaya plant. As you walk down this pathway, you'll see some more giant sunflowers, some peaches, some plueries. Plueries are a cross between a plum and a cherry. Papaya and a banana. Let's go down this pathway. There's some more trees that are planted here. Fruit trees, there's citrus, a couple citrus, a cocktail grapefruit, and gold nugget mandarin, some citrus, and an orange tree, pomegranates and jujubes, a fig. It's a green fig. We want to keep them small, not too big. There's a chirimoya. It's getting really big. My favorite, the apricots, they all have fruit this year. Here's a late ripening orange tree. Most of the other oranges have already provided the fruit. This one is still greening up, so it's a spring variety going into the summer, which is nice because we will have oranges past the winter season and spring. Right next to the orange tree is a kale tree, and this kale tree is about 8 feet tall, and it's been here for a few years, and it's given us a lot of kale, us and our friends a lot of kale. And it's easy to propagate. All you got to do is cut off one of these stems and branches and cut it off and root it. All of these will create roots and you get a new plant. Down here we've got a bunch of persimmons, and they all have fruit. They're developing fruit, a papaya plant. And if you look down below, there's also some more herbs. There's a sorrel, which is a leafy green that's very lemony. It's really delicious. And next to it is a mullein leaf. Mullein leaf is really cool for making teas, letting it dry and making teas. Next to the mullein is some more chickweed. You're getting a lot of chickweed growing throughout the garden. And behind you there's a nasturtium cluster. Enormous. I love it. And they're edible. You'll notice this white PVC pipe. It is here for rain, the rain from the roof comes down in these pipes, and we can direct the pipes to fill in a lot of water. It's a good way to like soak the soil with water during the winter. So instead of it going into the sewer and draining out into the ocean, we're bringing that water from the roof. And so these last few weeks when we had a lot of rain, there was a lot of extra water. I could see pools of water developing when I would come out in the rain to see what was going on. This year we planted some pine trees, some cedars, and some spruces. Here's one here. It's small. When we bought it at the nursery, it came with nettles, and the nettles is about to flower. So it'll spread nettle leaves, nettle seeds all over the place, and we'll get some more nettles. This is an ice cream bean tree. It wants to get really big. It gives these delicious pods that have seeds inside of them, but they're surrounded by this cotton candy type of pulp that's incredible. In Spanish, they call it paterna. Some more mango trees. Thank you for joining us on this tour of our garden. We look forward to having you over, and we look forward to sharing more garden videos with you.
Happy Earth Day! Go follow and